तालिबान ने अफगानिस्तान में कब्जा करने के बाद अपनी पहली न्यूज़ प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस की है। तालिबान होल्ड फर्स्ट प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस आफ्टर ओवरटेकिंग अफगानिस्तान इन काबुल। देखिए ये पूरी रिपोर्ट। सब्सक्राइब करिए हमारे YouTube चैनल ट्रू एंड वायरल स्टोरी को, साथ में बेल आइकन पर क्लिक करिए जिससे हमारी वीडियो की नोटिफिकेशन आपको मिलती रहे।
Happen, and so very quickly we had this collapse across the whole of the north of Afghanistan. All of the cities, the provinces fell, leaving only the one base of Mazar-e-Sharif as the last remaining stronghold, which itself then collapsed, and that was pretty much the end of the resistance outside of Kabul.
We have now Taliban representatives on stage. They are about to start. We will get into that just as soon as they start to speak. But Rob, if the new government is representative of tribal lines, you then wonder how fragile that might be once a novelty of being included in government has worn off, and especially if the unity was driven by the corruption of the previous government.
Yeah, I mean, there is a push at the moment by the people from the previous administration. Gulbuddin Hekmatyar, he is a former warlord. He is a fairly significant figure still in Afghan politics, who has been pushing with former President Hamid Karzai and Abdullah of the previous administration. Again, very important figures here, pushing to get the Taliban to incorporate some of the characters, incorporate some of the groups, the interest groups from the old administration, to make it more inclusive, so it isn't a purely Taliban administration, which might not be acceptable to everybody in Afghanistan. So there is a push on at the moment. We know that Gulbuddin Hekmatyar and his group, they have got various proposals, and they are lobbying the Taliban. I don't know if we'll ever hear about any of that tonight when this news conference finally starts. But there is a push on to try to make the new Taliban administration more inclusive. You know, well, as we mentioned before, all this talk of power sharing has gone out of the window, but it should be at least more representative, according to various factions here.
Give us a reminder, if you would, of the situation in Kabul today, because we did see those terrible scenes yesterday at the airport, people clinging to a plane as it was taking off, and people died in that process. And how are things today?
It is slightly better today. In fact, as we've been talking, we have just before we came back on air, we see the takeoff, the runway from the international airport is behind us, and when as aircraft take off in a particular direction, depending on the wind direction, they take off just over there. In fact, we did see a rather large wide-bodied aircraft take off, a big grey shape in the sky, which was probably
Rob, I'm going to jump in there because we do have some action on stage now, so let's just get an idea of what's happening there and have a listen in.
Press conference.
Yep, with perfect timing, Rob, they have actually stopped speaking. I think there's still quite a lot of processes to go through before things start. I think let's try and have a listen now. Oh, okay. It's just, I think it's they're having some kind of recitations at the moment. So, Rob, moving forwards, we heard from Joe Biden yesterday saying that you know, he still stood by his decision. You wonder, given what's happened, what the US involvement will be in Afghanistan, and indeed that of the international community.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we are hearing different things from different countries. We're hearing, for example, that while the US, they're wrapping up their US mission, same with the UK. I believe Pakistan, China and Russia are still keeping their missions open here. They, of course, have been quite active in entertaining envoys from the Taliban ahead of this, that, you know, ahead of the changeover in power. So they will be looking to have an influence in the new Taliban. So they are keeping open their missions here, their embassies. From the
Okay, Rob,
United
we're going to give it
Nations,
another try now. Zabihullah Mujahid is actually speaking now, so let's have a listen to him.
This is also a recitation from the Holy Quran about congratulating the victorious.
ويهديك صراطا مستقيما وينصرك الله نصرا عزيزا وأيضا قال الله تبارك وتعالى.
This is the continuation of
واعتصموا بحبل الله جميعا
verses from the Holy Quran. This one says about being united and don't get dispersed. Before anything else, I would like to welcome their journalists, representatives of the media and their compatriots and representatives from the global media. I would like to express my greetings to you. After my greetings, you have been the witnesses of the fact that we are at a very juncture, a very stage that after 20 years of struggle, once again we have emancipated our country and made it independent again, and we have expelled the foreigners. And I would like to congratulate the whole nation on this. This is a pride not only for a limited number of people, but this is a pride, a proud moment for the whole nation. This kind of pride is rare when it can be attributed the whole nation and to the whole history of the nation. Therefore, on the basis of this, I would like to congratulate the whole nation, and I would like to welcome you. Freedom and independence seeking is a legitimate right of every nation. The Afghans also use their legitimate right after 20 years of struggle for freedom and for emancipating the country from occupation. This was our right, and we achieved this right. And we would like to express our gratitude to Almighty God for having brought us to this stage, and I would like to thank God for giving freedom to this nation. The Islamic Emirate, after the freedom of this nation, is not going to revenge anybody. We do not have any grudges against anybody. We know that we have been undergoing very challenging periods and crises, a lot of mistakes that were made that were in the advantage of the occupiers. We wanted to make sure that Afghanistan is not the field of conflict, is a battlefield of conflict anymore. On the basis of the orders of the Amir al-Mu'mineen, we have pardoned anyone, all those who had fought against us. We don't want to repeat any conflict, any war again, and we want to do away with the factors for conflict. Therefore, the Islamic Emirate does not have any kind of hostility or animosity with anybody. Animosities have come to an end, and we would like to live peacefully. We don't want any internal enemies and any external enemies. Undoubtedly, we are at a very historical stage. Our countrymen and women who have been waiting, I would like to assure that after consultations that are going to be completed very soon, we will be witnessing the formation of a strong Islamic and inclusive government, inshallah, God willing. As the forces of the Islamic Emirate entered Kabul, and now this great development that has unfolded, we have not had any casualties. There have been some rioters who wanted to take advantage, wanted to abuse the situation, and this was brought to our attention. We realized that problem was going on, but we would like to assure the residents of Kabul for full security, for protection of their dignity and security and safety, and security has been ensured. God willing, day by day there will be more security. After ensuring the security, Afghanistan, especially in Kabul, there are embassies. The security of the embassies is very crucial, of crucial importance for us, and we would like to assure that the areas where there are the embassies, there will be complete security. Therefore, all foreign countries and your representatives, your embassies, your missions, international organizations, aid agencies, I would like to assure you that we will not allow anybody to do anything against you. Your security is ensured. Our forces are there 24 hours around the clock to ensure your security. Undoubtedly, we did not want to see any kind of chaos or inconvenience in Kabul. Our plan was to stop at the gates of Kabul after capturing all other provinces. Therefore, so that the transition process is completed smoothly without us entering Kabul, so that we stop troubles and harms or damages. But unfortunately, the previous government was so incompetent, and as a result of their actions, their security forces could not do anything to ensure security, and we had to do something. We had to take the responsibility. So that was the reason. The abusers and the rioters, they wanted to abuse the name of the Islamic Emirate to enter houses or to harass the people or to steal. So therefore we instructed our forces to enter Kabul to ensure this, to stop all these and to ensure security. So we had to do this, to enter Kabul to stop those criminals and abusers, so that we ensure the safety and security of the people and the residents of Kabul. Therefore, the residents are assured that your security is guaranteed. In the same way, when it comes to the current circumstances, I would like to assure the international community, including the United States, that nobody will be harmed in Afghanistan. I would like to assure our neighbors, regional countries, we are not going to allow our territory to be used against anybody, any country in the world. So the whole global community should be assured that we are committed to these pledges, that you will not be harmed anyway from our soil. The international community, we would also like to request the international community so that within recognized international boundaries and interactions, we should be treated accordingly. According to these frameworks, we do not want to have any problem with the international community. We'd like to act on the basis of on the principles of our religion, of our culture, and we have given a lot of sacrifices. We have the right to act on the basis of our religious principles and rules and regulations. This is the right of the Afghans. Other countries have also different, have got different rules, different policies, different Europeans have different approaches and policies. The US has different rules and regulations. Arab countries in the same way. Other countries in the same way. The Afghans also have the right to have their own rules and regulations and policies so that they're in the advantage and for the profit of the nation, of the people, so that they're in accordance with our values. So nobody should be worried about our norms and principles. The issue of women is very important. The Islamic Emirate is committed to the rights of women within the framework of Sharia. Our sisters, our women have the same rights, will be able to benefit from their rights. They can have activities in different sectors and different areas on the basis of our rules and regulations, educational, health, and other areas. They are going to be working with us, shoulder to shoulder with us. The international community, if they have concerns, we would like to assure them that there's not going to be any discrimination against women, but of course within the frameworks that we have. Our women are Muslim. They will also be happy to be living within our frameworks of Sharia. We hope that as soon as the conflict is done away with in Afghanistan, we are going to build the infrastructures of the economy. For this, we're going to take actions for economic activities. The interactions with the international community, with other countries, are going to continue. We are going to be working on our natural resources, in order to revitalize our economy, for our reconstruction, for our prosperity. Therefore, the Islamic Emirate is requesting the whole international community that, God willing, we can very soon, actually, very quickly can change the situation in the country economically. Every Afghan wants to improve his or her life. So the whole community, the whole society will be active in trade, in economics, and we are committed to ensure security, and after that to build our society, to serve our nation. We are the servants of the nation for the benefit of the nation, both in this world and for the next world. Once again, I would like to assure the media, we are committed to media within our cultural frameworks. Private media can continue to be free and independent. They can continue their activities. We've got requests, some requests from the media. One is that Islam is a very important value in our country. Nothing should be against Islamic values when it comes to the activities of the media. Therefore, Islamic values should be taken into account when it comes to the activities of the media, when it comes to developing your programs. Therefore, the media should be independent, should be impartial. Impartiality of the media is very important. They can critique our work so that we can improve. So you, young in the media, should also pay attention to the shortcomings so that we can serve the nation in a better way, and you should also work accordingly. In the same way, it's very important that the Afghans are giving a lot of importance to their national values, national unity, national consensus. The media should not work against this national values, against national unity. When it comes to ethnic differences, religious differences, and hostilities, they should not be actually promoted by the media. They should work, on the contrary, for the unity of the nation. To have peaceful, brotherly living together. Once again, I would like to express my gratitude to all of you for participating in our press conference. So the names are going to be read out. I'm here to serve you. We are going to have more press conferences. So today we have maybe less time than the future. I just came from a trip. I just wanted to make sure you're not going to wait for me. So we'll have a lot of time to discuss in the future. The questions are going to be asked now. I'm going to answer all of the questions. Unfortunately, I can't hear the other gentleman at the podium. So the first question from Al Jazeera. Everybody will have a chance to ask question. Al Jazeera. Charlotte Phyllis from Al Jazeera. I can't hear her.
What assurances can you give to women and girls that their rights will be protected?
The question was about women's rights. The question is, what kind of guarantees can you provide for ensuring women's rights? As I mentioned earlier, when it comes to, we are going to allow women to work and study. We have got frameworks, of course. The women are going to be very active in the society, but within the frameworks of Islam.
Whether it is in work or other activities, because women are a key part of society, and we are guaranteeing all their rights within the limits of Islam.
Panel, ABC News from America. Can I ask you, what guarantees can you give to the Afghans who fought with the Americans, the interpreters? What guarantees will you give to the Afghans who are now hiding at home, who want to leave the country, who the Americans will transport? What guarantees? Sorry. One. This is very important. This is a man who's being held hostage by the Taliban. His name is Mark Frericks, and on behalf of his parents, they've asked me to ask you whether you will now commit to release him.
دوه پوښتنې دي، یو داسې هغه خلکو ترجماني کړې ده امریکایانو سره یا نور کارونه کړي دي، هغوی د امنیت په باره څه ډاډ ورکولی شي؟ او دویمه پوښتنه دا ده هغه قراردادي چې
The question was about interpreters and security for the interpreters that work for the Americans, also the contractors. Unfortunately, I cannot hear the questions by the media. I would like to assure you, all the compatriots, whether they were translators, whether they had military activities, or whether they were civilians, all of them have been pardoned. Nobody is going to be treated with revenge. The youth who have talents, who have grown up here, who are from this country, we don't want them to leave. These are our assets. We would like them to stay here to serve. We would like to assure you that nobody is going to knock on their door to inspect them or to ask them or to interrogate them as to who they have been working for or interpreting for. So I would like to assure you that no harm is going to be, they're going to be safe. When it comes to contractors, I don't have any information about this, but it might have to do with the previous years. I do not have any full information about this.
Mr. Mujahid says that we are assuring the safety of all those who have worked with the United States and allied forces, whether as interpreters or any other field that they have worked with them. As for their talents and their skills, we do not want them to leave the country. We want them to serve their own homeland. As for the contractor that was perhaps, he's gone missing, as reported by the media, we do not have any information about him at the moment.
د تاسو له لارې نه غوته اطمینان ورکو سراسي خپل کورونو ته هیڅوک پیغو باندې کار نه لري.
I assure you that in your homes, nobody is going to harm you, nobody is going to knock on your door, nobody is going to be interrogated or chased. Those who had knocked on people's doors to inspect their houses, they had been abusers, they are going to be chased and investigated. So, thousands of soldiers who had fought us for 20 years. After the end of the occupation, all of them have been pardoned. Those families who are at the airport waiting, if they come back to their homes, nobody is going to do anything to them. They're going to be safe. Nobody is going to inspect them. We give them confidence. Again, I can't hear the question. The journalist is from Tulu News. So from the answer, we'll find out what the question has been. If you can ask just one question. I should remind you that we have pardoned everybody. This is for the benefit of stability and peace in Afghanistan. All factions who have fought us from A to Z are pardoned. They are not going to be revenged. And God forbid, we haven't done anything intentional against anybody. If during the war and conflict somebody has been harmed unintentionally, then this is one of the side effects of conflict. For 20 years, a huge occupying force was defeated. Then it was impossible for us to free the country, to emancipate the country without injuries, without harms, without being hurt. You know that some people have even committed suicide, like unwittingly. If somebody does something like that, if somebody has been harmed as a result of these activities, these are, of course, understandable. They are side effects of war. But I would like to assure you, I would like to guarantee that no harm inflicted on the nation has been intentional. There have been the side effects of war, there have been technical problems, and other unfortunate side effects and incidents. Next question.
ببخشید آرامش تحفظ کنین ببخشید
مجلس من دریم ورځ د چې کابل ښار ته طالبان داخل شوي دي تقریبا درې ورځې وشوه تاسو مخکې مې یادونه وکړه چې هلته کوم مقاومت شته دی یا کوم بل نظامي مرکز شته دی چې هغه نه وي نیول شوی مګر اوس هم که ښار ته وګورو د ښار فضا ډېره نظامي ده په ښار کې ډېر نظامي کسان له وسلو سره تاویږي خلکو ته یو تشویش یو ډول جوړ دی او دا راز دولتي امکانات چې تقریبا بیت المال دی بیت المال ګڼل کېږي داسې په یو بل ډول استفاده کېږي خلکو سره تشویش او اندېښنې
د خلکو تاسو پیږئ چې د ښار کله سیاسي حالت کې تغیر سول.
You know that when the political situation changed in the city, thefts and robberies and crimes started to emerge, but we had to take actions to stop them. In a very short period of time, we managed to do that. So we had to stop instability. So they had to be controlled. So we had to come up with a sort of actions within different regions of the city. So gradually, we will bring back complete normalcy and stability. The Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan will never abuse any assets. Those, for example, some people are armed, they have to be disarmed.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحیم عبدالحکیم سائل اربات څخه زما یوه لنډه پوښتنه دا ده چې له خلکو سره ملګري دي د دفاعي او امنیتي ځواکونو برخلیک او د هغه بیرغ تور سور شین چې د لا اله الا الله محمد رسول الله په دین الله اکبر او د افغانستان د نمایندګي پکې کېږي د هغو برخلیک څنګه کېږي او دا ستاسو جنګ دا ستاسو برخلیک د هغې چوکۍ لپاره نه دی چې تاسو نن پرې ناست یاست څومره مخکې مې مقال وویل تاسو خپل مسؤلیت ومنه آیا مبارزه د جمهوریت رنګېدل د همدغه چوکۍ موقف لپاره که
تاسو ته باید یادونه وکړم چې د افغانستان
you should be reminded that emancipating the country was a noble cause to get the country rid of them, so we could get rid of the occupiers, without which we could not form our government. So negotiations were taking place for 18 months. We had a strong team in Qatar. But then it was sabotaged. Some warmongers sabotaged it. They had actually, this previous government actually announced a 6-month plan for war against us. So for another 6 months, we were going to witness killings of our children, of our compatriots. Our struggle was to form an Islamic government. Anyway, our fighters, our people who are involved in this struggle, we are all going to make sure that we can include all other sides and factions from all segments of the society. That's what we have been struggling for. Those who have, whose lives have been lost as a result of fighting for the enemy, this was their own fault. You could see that we managed to control, to conquer the whole country in a matter of days, but we are not arrogant for this. We have instructed everybody not to enter anybody's house, whether they're civilians or military. There's a huge difference between us and the previous government. When we formed the government, then when everybody sees their position, their place, then you will see. The current situation is, of course, in the kind of military situation. We will, after formation of the government, everything will be more clear.
زبیدی صاحب سوال خود تکمیل زیدی صاحب بله بله اگر این سوال به اساس ایدئولوژی و مفکوره و یا عقیده
This question, if it is based on ideology and value systems, our nation is a Muslim nation, whether it was 20 years ago or whether it was now. But when it comes to experience and maturity and vision, of course, there's a huge difference between us in comparison to 20 years ago. There will be a difference when it comes to the actions we're going to take. This has been like a evolutionary, complementary sort of a process. Let's talk about the law after the government is formed. They're going to decide what kind of laws are going to be presented to the nation. This will be the duty and responsibility of the future government with the participation of all people.
ډېر زیات راغلي صاحب داسې د احکام خوشحاله صاحب ولیدلې زما پوښتنه دا ده چې تاسو اشاره په درلودله په ټولو خبرو کې هغه دا ده چې تاسو وایي داسې یو نظام به جوړېږي راځي نو تر اوسه کله چې رئیس جمهور غني کړی دی تاسو قانون باندې واکمن شوي یاستئ افغانان د ملک رهبري نه لري په دې سره نشته تر اوسه قرار ځکه چې رهبري نشته تاسو وایي په داسې یو نظام باندې کار کېږي چې ټول خلک خپل پایې دا کار چېرته کېږي چېرته روان ویل کېږي چې د قطر سیاسي رهبري کندهار ته رارسېدلې ده دا مسله څنګه ده یو لنډه پوښتنه وي لنډه پوښتنه دا ده چې افغانستان کې د وسلو قاچاقبر ډېر زیات دی د هر برخې د وسلو سرحدونه څه پلان لري ویل کېږي چې وسلې به افغانستان ته روانې
یو شی تاسو ته وایم ظاهر صاحب
One thing I need to say, we are seriously now working on forming the government. Very seriously, I would like to assure you, it will be announced after completion. We have all the borders under our control. There's not going to be any case of smuggling of weapons. All the weapons that have been used in fighting are going to be collected and completed and registered. Contact consultations are being carried out. We will be aware of it soon. International journalists, please, let's give a chance to them.
دا سوال خو باید فیسبوک له ادارې سره د بیان د ازادۍ دعوت دوی کوي او دلته خلک د بیان د ازادۍ.
This question should be asked to those people who are claiming to be promoters of freedom of speech, who do not allow publication of all information. I can ask Facebook company. This question should be asked to them. And let's give some more time to the international media.
در نظام بعدی شما کسایی که امروز رفتن بیرون از افغانستان سیاسیون هستن، مثل کسایی که با امارت اسلامی جنگ میرن، مثل مارشال رستم هست، مثل اسلام هستن و یا کسای دیگه که در پاکستان هستن، اینا در قدرت یا در نظام بعدی جای داشت خواهند داشت یا نه؟
باید در مورد سوال اولتان بگویم.
When it comes to your first question, we have captured Kabul for the last 3 days. In any province, we haven't had any case of murder. There's full security across the country. If a poet has been kidnapped, we are going to follow this up. Our poets, our talented people should not be harmed. This should be stopped. The current situation is like resembles a martial law kind of situation. It will soon come back to normal. Nobody will be able to kidnap anybody. Compare now to last week, for example. There's a huge difference. Nobody is losing their life anymore. And we are going to have more and more security day by day. Those who have left the country, we don't want anybody to be out of the country. This is their country. This is our common homeland. We have got common values, common religion, a common nation. We would like to come under the umbrella of these commonalities. We have undergone these problems and difficulties. There's this public amnesty, general amnesty, so no animosity is going to be followed up.
سوال ما هم است که امروز افغانستان اول کشور تغییر کرده است و این مشکلات چند سال است و برای شما مهم است که تنها حکومت که تونستی تغییر بند کردن طالبان حکومت طالبان سال 2000 دیگه شما عالی قصاری که دعوی مخالف بند کنید و بتونید بند کنید
بله ما کاملا اطمینان میتیم به هموطنان
We are assuring our
که افغانستان دیگر مرکز تریاک و خشخاش نخواهد باشه.
And the international community that Afghanistan will not produce any kind of narcotics. In 2001, if you remember, we had brought narcotics production to zero in 2001, but our country was unfortunately occupied, and then the way was paved for reproduction of narcotics, even at the level of the government, everybody was involved. But from now on, nobody is going to get involved. Nobody can be involved in drug smuggling. Today, when we entered Kabul, we saw a large number of our youth who were sitting under the bridges and next to the walls, and they were using narcotics. This was so unfortunate. I got saddened and to see these young people without any faith in the future. From now on, Afghanistan will be a narcotics-free country. But it needs international assistance. The international community should help us so that we can have alternative crops. If we can provide the people with alternative crops, then of course very soon we can bring it to an end.
مردم افغانستان منتظر چی هم؟ نظام روشن؟ آیا نظام بھارت اسلامی یا نظام دیگری؟ شما جریان دیگر سیاسی را در حکومت سعید می‌سازید؟ آیا یک حکومت مشروط تشکیل بدهید؟ و سوال دومی است که مردم افغانستان کارمندان ادارات دولتی مردان و زنان می‌توانند دانشگاه بروند؟ چی وقت
باید بگوییم که
I should mention that Afghanistan will have an Islamic and a strong Islamic government. Whether what the name is going to be, what the specifications are going to be, let's leave it to the political leaders. They are now conducting serious consultations in this regard. But we can assure you that it will be Islamic and a strong government on the basis of our values, and will not be against the values and the benefits of our people. We will do our most to make sure that everybody is included in the country, even those people who are against us in the past. So we are going to wait until the announcements are made. The government agencies will be able to start working again very soon. When it comes to women, of course, they will be able to work within the frameworks of our Islamic laws, for example, in education, in health, in prosecution. Of course, women are needed. They are going to be able to be working.
إلى كوسي رسانية.
What happens to your relation with Al-Qaeda? Are you willing to give that up, or are you willing to give an assurance on that, number one? And number two, who will be the leader?
One question.
It's a two-part question. So who will be the leader from the Taliban who can possibly be the face of Afghanistan, now that in the absence of leadership, when President Ghani is not there? Thank you.
یو د القاعده د اړیکو په اړه د تاسو تیار یاست سره اړیکې پرې کړئ او دومره پوښتنه ده چې اوس په الحال رهبریت موجود نه ده په افغانستان کې، نو تاسو له طرف به څوک رهبر معرفي کیږي؟
بله، موږ باید ووایو چې د بهرنیو جنګیالیو په مورد
foreign fighters, one point that Afghanistan soil is not going to be used against anybody. We should assure the international community. Anybody who's going to use our land against other countries, we are not going to allow them at all. The government is being formed, the problems are going to be resolved, our leaders are involved, so we are going to announce everything in the next few days. The social situation is under control now for a better government.
The first question about foreign fighters is that we will not allow any foreigners who wish to harm or threaten the security of other countries, any space in Afghanistan, and we have assured this. As for your second question, as for the government setup, we are still working on it, and hopefully we'll reach the stage soon.
Can you please clear mention for us about the situation of women journalists and women working in the media? You say something that is not clear. Can they achieve like in the previous government like this or no?
Can you please repeat the question? Can you please repeat the question?
Can women continue to work for the media in the same way as in the past? Let's wait and see what the future government is going to say. Our laws when it comes to media and other sectors are going to be such that everybody should be able to work, but within the framework of the Islamic Sharia laws. Because currently we cannot actually present you with everything clearly. Let's wait for the government to be formed and for the laws to be promulgated, and then we will of course be able to observe those laws and regulations. How many journalists have we been able to answer so far? I can't hear the question properly, so let's see what the answer is, and then we'll figure out what the question was. The question is whether you're in touch with Dr. Abdullah, Engineer Hekmatyar, and Hamid Karzai. I should say that very soon we will be witnessing the formation of the government and announcing the government. We will do our most to make sure that we are in touch with all sides, with Dr. Abdullah, with others. We have been communicating with them. We're continuing our communication with them. We will do our most to make sure that all Afghans are included. Nobody should be left out. Anybody who is interested to serve the nation, who has the will to serve the nation, they are not going to be ignored. So the future government will be inclusive. As to when our leader is going to enter the country and enter Kabul, I should mention that very soon the decision will be made and the government will be announced and all problems will be solved. Of course, we should wait a little bit more because it's like an emergency at the moment. We will make sure that everybody is included and we'll have a proper and healthy government.
برنامه مشخص شما برای گسترش رابطه منطقه‌ای و پس از آن در گام گسترش رابطه با همسایگان و پس از آن گسترش رابطه.
The question is about the relations with the rest of the world, with the neighboring countries. As I mentioned before, Afghanistan wants to have very good relations with everybody in order to revive our economy, in order to ensure prosperity in order to come out of the current crisis. It calls for having very good relations with neighboring countries, with other countries. We are doing our best to make sure that we are communicating with neighboring countries within the framework of international diplomatic frameworks and on the basis of good neighborly agreements and mutual respect. Thank you so much for coming here. We do not have enough time, unfortunately. Thank you so much for coming. Have a good day.
Well, there we are then. We've been listening to a rather astonishing press conference there from the Taliban, going on for close to 1 hour now. We were hearing there from the Taliban spokesman, that was Zabihullah Mujahid, a man who's has given announcements before, but his face was usually covered. That's one of the first times we've seen him talking directly to people with his face uncovered. A very full hall there in that press conference. I'll just give you a quick summary.
मेरे इस चैनल को ज़रूर सब्सक्राइब करिए